I'm back. Guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back? Tell a friend. Guess who's back? 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 I don't remember. Was it Eminem who was back? I think it was Eminem. Shady's back. Yep. Eminem is a complicated public figure. Undeniably an incredibly talented rapper. Although he hasn't put out anything decent in a long time. Also, really horrible lyrics sometimes that were bad and weren't good. And were pretty dark. But also, on a third hand, he had some great white hope bullshit going for him. I don't know about you, I went to a redneck high school with a bunch of racists, and they loved him for not the right reasons. Like, Eminem had some respect from within the rap game. But some white folks would just liked him because they wanted a rapper who was white. And that is sad. I asked my mom to get me an Eminem CD once, and she said no, which was the correct move because I was way too young for some of the shit he was singing about. And yeah, so she went to the store, and the guy was like, you know, even the censored version is pretty fucked up on that particular album. I would not buy it for your child. Good call, guy. So she instead got me Dr. Dre, The Chronic 2000. It was the censored version, but that is a good album, and it did have a lot of Eminem on it. That was the recommendation. The clerk working was like, no, don't buy him the Evil Eminem album, but definitely buy him the Dr. Dre album with all the Eminem features on it. Gotta admit, that was a great album that I probably would have never found if it weren't for that guy, so thank you. Nowadays, everybody wants to talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips. Just a bunch of gibberish, because motherfuckers act like they forgot about Dre. Some of the songs, Still DRE, honestly comes out a little sad and desperate. He's like, oh, I'm still cool. Oh, you think you all want to talk about guns like I ain't got none. What you think, I sold them all? Like, I guess, dude, you're an old guy with guns now. Congratulations. Dr. Dre is an incredible talent, a great producer, an OG. But that song was still kind of like, you still really have to make a song called, basically might as well be called, I Still Got It. I Still Got It. But it was still a great album. And guess what? Sorry, Mom. The babysitter's brother copied me a cassette of that CD anyway, so I still had it to listen to. It was the one with Stan on it, as I recall. And guess what? Now people use Stan. You shouldn't self-apply the word Stan. The things that Stan did weren't very good. Stan was a cautionary tale about how not to get too fucking tied up in celebrities. And yet people are like, yeah, I'm a Stan for fucking K-pop. Okay. Okay, I'm pretty sure that dude, like, killed himself and his wife and his child at the end of that, so... Cool, K-pop. Why is Smough creeping? Don't be creeping. Fuck. It's technically the first attempt of a new video, and not the 8th attempt of the morning. I think that that album also had the next episode by Snoop Dogg featuring Dr. Dre. No, by the other way around. I don't remember. It was either the Chronic or it was that Chronic 2000 or whatever it was called. That had the next episode. Ba da 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 da. Hey, 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 hey. Smoke weed every day. You got it. You got it, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. If you say so, I will take your advice. When Dr. Dre tells you to smoke weed every day, you do it. Because what is Dr. Dre? A doctor. And what is Snoop Dogg? A dog. So, man's best friend right there. And medical professional. If you're not smoking weed every day, that's fine. But my brain is so much slower than yours. And it, gets stuck sometimes, but also, I feel fuzzy and I take a lot of naps. And my anxiety. Helps my anxiety. I got a real bad anxiety disorder. Honestly, that could be part of why I don't mind this run so much, is that there's not really any surprises. It's difficult, but you do it over and over again and you don't really get surprised. Generalized anxiety disorder. I'm on medication. Sometimes I'm not on medication. Those times are bad. Because the thing about the depression and anxiety is it makes it hard to get back on the medication because you're anxious about even fucking calling your doctor. But if you stick on it, then you stick at it and you're in a better place. And, you know, it's not going to heal your mental illness, but helps the days be more bearable. If you knew my family, you'd be like, oh, I understand why you have an anxiety disorder. Circling down the drain. Well, that's kind of cool that you can just run around on it like this. It's not worth a point, but... Oh, I just made myself dizzy. Oh, God. Oh, my... I have really huge monitors. They're really close to my face. Fuck you for making me dizzy. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, oh. Living on a prayer. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for the talk box, baby. I don't care about Bon Jovi. Give me the talk box he's using. Super dog. Has there ever been a greater divide between how stupid you look playing an instrument and how cool it sounds as a guitar plugged into a talk box. But meanwhile, you got a big plastic pipe in your fucking hose in your mouth like a dick. I don't like when I can't see his animations. Felt that one coming. Oh my gosh. I'm so good at this game sometimes. I didn't take any damage. Uh-oh. Fine, we're just paying a little bit of an Estes task for a momentary lapse of playing. The vibe is still good. This is still a good attempt. Dangerous when Smout comes around that corner. I shouldn't have turned around and run. That was a panic move. Turning around and running is basically never the right move to do in that fight ever, for any reason, and you saw why. So what I just realized is happening is I laced this weed with a bunch of keef, concentrate, pollen to make a celebratory joint for the other night. And I forgot that was in there. So it's hitting a lot harder than I expected. And my tolerance is pretty bananas, so that's not an issue, but it just makes me cough and it affects my ability to speak. You know, I used to be a cigarette smoker for about 8 years, 7, 8 years. Starting literally on my 18th birthday like a fucking idiot. I was like, yeah, celebrate, haha, cigar. I eventually switched to vaping, which was absolutely the right call because I'm very much a hobbyist type of person, and this was back, you know, this was at least 10 years ago, if not 12, 13 years ago. I switched to vaping, and it was still kind of in the frontiers. Like, these vapes were not being mass produced and sold in gas stations yet. So a lot of it was, if you really wanted a good experience and you wanted to get, you know, chuck big clouds and have a lot of flavor. You needed to kind of go the hobbyist route with those big either like lightsaber things or the box mods. So I got into it back then, and there was a lot of cool hobby stuff to it. Like you take a piece of nichrome wire and you rolled your own coil and tested the resistance to see, you know, that it would give just the right wattage. And you made a wick out of a different material of your choice, whether it was, you know, or usually I used organic cotton because that seemed to be the safest one. Point being, my hobby itself, I ended up getting into actually creating the nicotine juice. I would not be shocked to hear that's a lot harder to do nowadays, because I could just buy a bottle of fucking... I never bought it in dangerous concentrations, but you could buy a bottle of like almost pure nicotine from chemical suppliers online, no problem. And then the flavorings and stuff, those are literally the same artificial flavorings that goes into food, candy, candles, smells. This artificial scents and artificial flavors are the same chemicals. So yeah, I made my own e-juice. I was usually made the strawberry banana flavor, with a little bit of dragon fruit in it was the trick, and a little citric acid for some brightness. That my friend helped me name. Strawberry Blonde was the name of the flavor, and I sold it to people, and it was pretty. I didn't make a lot of money, but I was helping people get e-juice for cheap. Anyways, my point is, after switching to making my own e-juice, I was able to taper down the nicotine level, like totally unnoticeably, because when you're hitting a vape, you get your nicotine by kind of hitting an arbitrary number of times. So if there's less nicotine, and maybe your brain will take another hit or something, you don't even notice. So I slowly lowered the nicotine level down and down and down and down. There was never any uncomfortableness with it. It was, you know, I never felt that I was missing out on nicotine. Eventually I tapered it all the way to 0. Kept hitting that thing with 0 nicotine for maybe 2-3 weeks, and it was just like, I don't feel... Like, honestly, when I was doing this, I was like, I imagine, because it is a pleasurable experience. It feels good to vape, and it tastes good. So I was like, yeah, I'll probably still kind of hit the 0 nicotine vape every once in a while for a little flavor, a little cloud. But honestly, 2-3 weeks after I got to 0 nicotine, I was honestly, like, my brain was just like, I have 0 interest in this whatsoever. So that's how I successfully quit smoking cigarettes. Or quit nicotine overall, I guess. Now this is a room that smells like cigarettes. If any room in Anne Orlando smells like cigarette smoke, this is the one. Okay, I need to get them into their positions. First of all, I need to not die 0.5 of all. That's the actual first. Okay. Okay, I feel good about it now. Uh-oh. So the point that I was getting to is, you know, I'm in no rush to make these points because I gotta fill time somehow. It's yesterday I was taking a walk through the town where I work now. And first of all, lovely town because there's benches everywhere. If you get tired, just pop a squat for a minute. But yeah, I'm walking through this town, and I was walking slowly, but I walked, you know, a good, overall, like a mile. I'm not saying I walked a million miles or nothing. I'm not an incredibly in shape person, but the difference in stamina, even walking at like a slow, leisurely, casual pace through even ground, the difference in stamina, it's been a long time since I was a smoker, but I remember if I had taken this walk when I was a smoker, I would have been huffing and puffing. And not able to breathe through my nose. I would have been congested up. I would have been coughing every 2 minutes along the way. It would have been a whole spectacle. It would have been embarrassing. But I just feel like my lungs are fully free of tobacco tar now. And maybe it took a few years. Maybe it's been this good and I just haven't noticed because I don't take a lot of walks. Which I don't. I'm going to rectify that. By living in this nice town where you can take nice walks. But like, if you're a cigarette smoker, please quit. I recommend the book, The Easy Way to Stop Smoking by Alan Carr. I think Alan Carr. Definitely it's a Carr. C-A-R-R. Honestly, genuinely, between that and vaping is how I totally quit. Alan Carr's book really, I don't know, maybe I'm just because I'm a logical person, but he made an excellent bunch of arguments about how cigarettes they don't taste good. You might think it tastes good, you're just addicted to it. They don't taste good. They don't smell good, you smell bad all the time. And people think they've got their favorite brand of cigarettes, but the thing that the book keeps repeating that really stuck with me is that you may think you have your favorite brand, but a cigarette smoker would smoke old rope if it contained nicotine. And that's true. You know, cigarette smokers, you're so addicted to nicotine, there is genuinely a point where if you run out of cigarettes and you don't have money and you don't have the ability to get more cigarettes, you will do whatever. You will bum a cigarette of your not preferred kind. You will start thinking about absurd things like scrounging them out of ashtrays and things. And whether you're gross enough to actually do that, you're gonna think about it. You're gonna be like, oh, because you're fucking heavily addicted to nicotine. So basically, I had this combination effect of I read this book that made me truly realize that cigarettes taste disgusting. And then I switched to vaping, which tastes great. That's kind of the problem with vaping for people who are just vaping and never did cigarettes, is that argument no longer applies to those people. Because vaping tastes great. It's not, honestly, as deleterious to your health. You know, there's a lot of scare campaigns about it, but compared to cigarettes, are you kidding me? It's nichrome wire, known to be safe, used in your toaster. It's propylene glycol, known to be safe, used in your eye drops. It's vegetable glycerin, known to be safe, used in so much food that you eat. And it's nicotine, known to be highly addictive, but otherwise, honestly, pretty safe. Nicotine does not cause cancer. Go to the American Cancer Society's website right now, American Cancer Association, or whatever they're called, and look at, they have a list of all the carcinogens in cigarettes. And there's a lot of carcinogens in cigarettes, but nicotine is not on that list. So vaping, I'd rather see somebody vaping than smoking cigarettes any day. But my point is, I had this effect of, I realized that cigarettes were gross, and then I tapered down the nicotine on vaping to kind of deal with the addiction side of it, and here we are. I feel great, I feel better, I will never smoke another cigarette in my life. I have been drunk as a skunk. I was once drunk at a party and on magic mushrooms, craving a cigarette, and I bummed one from somebody, and honestly, it tasted so bad to me, I gave it back. I took 2 puffs and gave it back. Every once in a while, I feel like I'm gonna treat myself to a Black and Mild, and I smoke 2 puffs and throw the whole pack away because I just don't like tobacco anymore. And nobody did on their first try. Everybody the first time they had a cigarette wanted to fucking throw up. Guess what? That's the reality before you're addicted to it. If you get unaddicted, and truly get unaddicted, and really think about it, you will realize that it is gross. I'm braining too much, I'm sorry, but it's an important subject to me. Greedy, greedy, greedy pants. Woof, woof. I'm sorry, I got into soapbox mode and then I just wasn't in the right brain mode this time. It's that, you gotta thread the needle. You gotta thread the needle. You gotta turn your switch between irreverent and maudlin right in the middle. That's a Futurama reference. I smoke 2 joints in the morning. I smoke 2 joints at night. Smoke 2 joints when I play video game. And every 10,000 points, I smoke 2 joints. Smoke 2 joints, and then I smoke 2 joints. And then I smoke 2 more. You guys think that okay. Here's my thing, right? For my next pet, I will, once I move, I would like to get a non-insect arthropod of some kind. And I'm between 2 types of arthropods, y'all. Shall we get a spider, or shall we get a crab? I'm not prepared for the commitment of hermit crab, so even though I would love to have hermit crabs, right? But they live for a good long time if you take care of them right. I'm thinking like a tarantula maybe, or maybe Halloween crabs. Panda crabs are pretty cute. I want to get a jumping spider, but that's kind of incidental because jumping spiders are very small. They take very little food and they do not live super long. So that's kind of a side thing. That's kind of something I've been keeping out. There's a cool species I saw at the park at work. I think I mentioned them, the Hensia genus jumping spider that has like the long front legs. It's white and tan. I would love to capture one of those babies and take it home, but that doesn't count as the spider. It would be a tarantula of some sort. Maybe one of the Brazilian black ones are pretty cool. They call them the black lab of tarantulas because they're so friendly. Chill. There was another one that gets really big. That was kind of appealing too. But another thing, I also want to get a ball python. Have you seen ball pythons? They are so cute. Every time I see one, I was at the pet store the other day buying mice for my corn snake, and the ball python. It's really sad at the pet store. They keep them in shit conditions. It's shitty. Never, ever, ever, ever buy a snake from PetSmart or that kind of store. Because you're just encouraging it. That's all you're doing. People are like, I saved the snake from PetSmart. And it's like, yeah, okay, you did. But you paid money into this horrible system that means they're just going to put another snake there. Always just go to a reputable breeder online. Go to morphmarket.com. They got every snake and color and species and animal you could ever want in every different... Go there. Or find somebody local so you don't have to ship the animal. Which is fine. I had my animal shipped. Okay. Okay, thought... That time the problem was there wasn't enough thoughts. Brain was too empty. Brain got too empty. I wasn't doing thoughts about the fighting. I'm gonna try not talking this time. Used about 110 arrows. I said about, but I've used exactly 110 arrows. Persistence. I'm going back to bed.